Willie B survives a Wreckfest in Atlanta and the youth movement continues. All that and more coming up next. What's going on, everybody? If I haven't earned your subscription, hopefully today is the day that I will earn that subscription. All right, 5 races, 5 different winners, and the youth movement continues. Willie B, William Byron, another guy under the age of 30, has won this race. So it's looking like NASCAR is no country for old men. But to do so, he had to survive an absolute Wreckfest in Atlanta, multiple cautions. The race started out pretty clean, but after that, it just devolved into caution after caution after caution. Over 30 cars were involved in some type of accident, had some type of race damage. And the reason for this was the new configuration of the racetrack. They added the banking, yes, but they also narrowed the track. So while they tried to make this like a smaller version of Talladega and Daytona, which they achieved, they didn't give the drivers the runoff room that they have at those tracks. So in that aspect of it, it was actually more like a Bristol or a Martinsville, where the cars are bunched together, and when somebody wrecks in the middle of the pack or at the front of the field, there is nowhere to go, and it is going to collect a ton of other drivers in the race, and that is what you saw here today. So it is for that reason I say I hope this is the last time that NASCAR makes another smaller version of Talladega and Daytona. I know they're talking about doing it with Texas. Although this race was good, two things. There's nowhere to go, like I said, when there's a wreck, and also it cheapens the Talladega and Daytona experience. The reason people didn't like cookie cutters back in the day, they sort of changed it now because you've added more short tracks and road courses and things, is because it was just one type of track, and if one driver was good at that one type of track, they would win the championship. You don't need to oversaturate the sport with another type of track because you're trying to get rid of the 1.5 racing experience. So hopefully they will not make Texas and then Charlotte and so on and so forth super speedways like they just did with Texas here. So hopefully just Daytona and Talladega and Texas will be super speedways going forward. I say that because to crown a champion, you should be good at every type of track, right? Super speedways, road courses, short tracks, intermediates. Let's keep a good mix of all those tracks. Let's not go and oversaturate like we did in the 90s with a bunch of 1.5s. Let's just keep it, you know, sort of diversified as far as the tracks go, and I think that would be a much better move going forward, because then to crown a champion, he would have to be good theoretically at all of these tracks. So, like I said, it was a smaller super speedway, and super speedways typically are Wreckfests. And when you have Wreckfest, you're going to have some surprises in the top 10. So let's look at those top 10 finishers now. William Byron, of course, is your race winner. Ross Chastain, Kurt Busch, Daniel Suarez, Corey LaJoie, Chase Elliott, Chris Buescher, Martin Truex, Joey Logano, and Alex Bowman. So a few surprises there. Of course, Trackhouse continues their absolutely stellar start to the season with a 2-3 finish there. Like I said in the previous episode, Trackhouse has had a top 5 finish in just about every race except for the Daytona 500 with at least one of their cars. This time, both of their cars are in the top 5, so Trackhouse continues to gain momentum, and they are a big surprise of the season. Corey LaJoie getting a top 5, awesome run for him. Good to see that team get a good run. They've had some just terrible luck to begin the season. They've been in some wrecks and some accidents, and they've also just been off as far as the car goes at some tracks, so good to see them get a good finish. And Chris Buescher carrying the flag for Ford today with a top 10. Good to see Roush Fenway Keselowski. Brad Keselowski actually finished 11th, so good run for both of those guys, getting a little positive momentum for RFK. And Kurt Busch carrying the flag for Toyota, looking really good early on. I know he had a few struggles at the very beginning of the season, but now a few races in, he has found his groove with that 23-11 team, and he has established himself with back-to-back good weekends. 2 top 10s, 2 top 5s, I think, actually, in the last 2 races. So Kurt Busch is finding his groove over there at 23-11 for Toyota. All right, with the good, there is also some bad at Superspeedway races. So, gotta say, bad race once again for Denny Hamlin, once again finishing outside of the top 25. Kyle Busch also had a bad race. He got tangled up with Austin Dillon, took Austin Dillon out and his brother Ty Dillon. That snaps Ty Dillon's early season finishing. He had finished in the top 20 so far in every race. Well, that threw that out the window. Also, another disappointing race for Harrison Burton. He looked like he was never even in the race this time. And Austin Cindric, after winning that Daytona 500 and starting the season off really strong last few races, as most rookies do, Austin Cindric has been just caught up in some bad luck. So it's been a couple of bad weekends for Austin Cindric. He's dropping down in the points rankings. Of course, it doesn't really matter because he's got that win, and theoretically he would be in, except, well, could be more bad news because 5 races so far, 5 different winners. So actually, even with a win now, you kind of have to pay attention to points because there is a possibility that we could have more than 16 winners on the season, which means a win would not guarantee you to be into the playoffs. So that will be something to watch going forward. All right, guys, that is all I've got for you on this recap. If you like the content, feel free to subscribe down below. If you got a question, leave it down in the comment section. I will be doing a Q&A this week, so if you got a question for the Q&A, go ahead and leave that to celebrate going over 4,000 subscribers. And other than that, thanks for your time. Peace.